Artisan podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Midwest Artisan. I'm your host, Andy Hinkle.
And I'm your co-host, Dahl McCleary.
Dalton, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Long time no see. How you been?
Yeah, got back from Laracon.
That's right.
Laracon was excellent. Did you get a chance to tune in and watch the talks? I know
I watched
you
a couple.
didn't make it this year, right? So,
Yeah, I did. I couldn't fly, personal thing, but I did watch a couple talks on the YouTube live stream. I did catch a couple. I did have some meetings, so I didn't watch all of it. But the couple that I did see, really good. Pest 4. I did watch Pest 4 when it first started, and I remember when we went to the Nashville Laracon, and I think he announced Pest something or other, and we were like, yeah, but it's still not as good as PHP Unit. You remember that? We were sitting there and we're like, yeah, it's not as good as PHP Unit. Pest 4 looks awesome. Like,
I think it was
I
version
talked to
2?
my boss. Well, maybe it was version 2. It wasn't as widely as adopted as it is now, but I was talking to my boss about Pest 4. I was like, I kind of want to switch to Pest 4 now because it looks really good comparatively.
That was really good talk, the browser testing in Pest.
That specifically, yes.
That
blew my mind. It was like, okay,
we currently
RIP
struggle
Dusk.
with that.
Oh, you guys use Dusk?
Yeah, pretty extensively. We would like to even use it more just because front-end testing is so hard. You can only do so much in PHP Unit. Like, there's been times where I've been on applications where everything looks good. It's like just a simple like node update or something. Compiles correctly. And then nothing wrong in PHP Unit. But then if you happen to just go visit the front end, CSS is broken. And so the only way that you can know about it is, just actively just poking around the website. Well, that was just one reason I prefer browser testing. Just the application, you go in, click something, it expects to do this. You have some stuff that's just so very embedded in things like you go here, click here, but the connection is broken somehow, and that's kind of hard to tricky to test sometimes. But so, yeah, we use browser testing a lot. It's just so slow and very finicky. Just recently, it just randomly crashed. So we're very excited about this. Yeah. Me and you had an application. It took like 45 minutes to run the test suite. Remember that?
Yeah.
We actually did mostly Dusk testing. It was useful, but man, it was just like, well, time to go on lunch.
Especially if you're setting it up in like a CI environment. Good God. Blow my brains out trying to get like some sort of headless Chrome just to be able to run and tear down itself after the fact. Yeah. No bueno. I'm excited for
It's so satisfying to watch browser tests. Like to run it, to take off the headless flag and just watch your thing click around. It's kind of satisfying to just see how fast it
Selenium
flies.
grid of just like a bunch of windows and it's just moving around your application. I did almost like that. Yeah, I liked that a lot.
Yeah. Denver was good. It wasn't downtown. It was just like right outside of downtown. So which made it kind of nice because usually people that you saw were people there for the conference, like at the hotel, typically.
Right.
People that were just kind of hanging around. So it was really cool. It was easy to find a hang, and so like if you're at the hotel, it was like you go down the lobby. There's always people there. When I got there, like Yaz at Ninja Parade on Twitter, he was just hanging out in the lobby. You just never know who might show up. And so yeah, it was really good place to just for our conference. So, and have you been to Denver? I know you didn't attend, but you've been to Denver fairly recently, right?
Yeah, last year, I think I went to Denver for a vacation with my wife.
Yeah, that's right. I remember you told me that. My favorite tweet of the conference was like somebody was asking on Twitter, like, why is the Denver airport in Kansas? I don't know if you felt like that. I don't know if you flew, but it's it feels like it's so far outside of the city.
Oh,
it's like
it is very far.
30-minute drive. It's like so far away, but overall, Denver was great. If you want to know if you're introverted, extroverted, go to Laracon. I was just absolutely drained. I was just like, end of day 2, I was just like, I just need to just relax, and I just went to my hotel and just sat there in silence for like 45 minutes. So It was just because it was just like constant conversations, just like meeting people. You see these people online. I remember my first Laracon. It was just like you know people you'd see online, but it was so awkward to go up and talk to them. Like, hey, I kind of know about you, but like you never met me before. But it's just kind of awkward to talk to them, right? What I've learned is these people have the most common things with myself. And so there's no other people on earth that like love Laravel just as much as I do, and that love programming and have similar interests. And it's easy to just talk to people there. So it's a good time. I talked to several people. I got to see Doug again. He was on our show.
Nice.
Doug Sisk. So
Shout
he's
out
doing
Doug.
really well. He is building. He's still working on a massive Livewire project where he's working through some of the trenches in that, but what he was describing is one of the biggest Livewire projects I've heard about. So he's doing some really cool things there. Yeah, but got to see Dino. So
Yes, shout out Dino.
Dino, yeah. At the end, I didn't even know he was there until like that what you shared on Twitter. So at the end of day one, all like corralling, around the stage area, just talking to one another. And I was talking to somebody, and corner of my eye, I hear Aaron Francis. And he yells, "Happy birthday, Dalton!" And I was just like, and I remembered it was his birthday, like just a few days before, right? And I was like,
yeah, that Monday.
Yeah, and I was like, "This Dalton?" And then I thought that guy that was recording video looked really familiar. It was Dino, and so I was like, "Oh, that's the guy that Dalton used to, or that you do some contracting with or freelancing with, believe, right?
Yeah,
you worked with him." So really nice guy, but it was just like I just hear Aaron Francis like yelling in the corner. It's like, what's he talking about? This Dalton? I was like, is Dalton here? So it was cool, man.
It was really sweet of Dino. Again, shout out Dino. I worked with him quite a lot during COVID, and then I still work with him today, working on some stuff. But he lives in Denver, so he's like, I'm going. It's like if you want to go, you can stay at my house. It's like I would take you up on that, but I can't fly. I was like, if you go, which he said he was going, I was like, if you go, make sure that you like shake hands with Aaron Francis. I was like, Aaron Francis is the man. If you could just shake his hand, and send me a pic, that would be awesome. Turns out he sent me that video instead. I posted it on my Twitter if you wanted to see it. But yeah, my birthday was Monday, and I think Laracon was on that Tuesday. So it's very, very sweet of him for him to do that with Aaron.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, man, it was a really good time. It was a true classic Laracon too. So
classy.
Yeah, well, it all started in Nashville. Is where I started feeling a little fuzzy. Do you remember that bar we went to? Me and you. We went to the bar, and there's probably like 200 Laravel people there.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, and
we got the Liquid Deaths, and we sat out on the back.
Yeah,
that bar.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and Excel was footing the bill for that. I was talking to somebody and they mentioned it, but once I heard that, I was like, that was the first time I've heard of them. And that night I remember Googling, like, who is this? Like, is it like a sponsor or like some company using Laravel? And I go on like, oh, it's a VC company. I was like, what's a VC company poking around like doing here and funding some of this stuff? So that was the first time. That was in Nashville. I was like, what's going on here? And so I thought that was a little strange. And like they're footing this bar, 100 or a couple hundred hours since. Yeah.
I think is what the kids say nowadays, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
right. Then in Dallas, fast forward a year, going into that Laracon, they mentioned that this is the biggest announcement in Laravel's history. And during that time, they've been like kind of hinting at cloud for a while. Like, okay, cloud's a big deal, but is it this big of a deal? That's what we all thought it was. Like, okay, it's maybe the Laravel cloud, like the feature or the platform, right? Which is incredible, like, and a great feat in itself.
Money.
Announced the $57 million for the official announcement with the partnership with Excel. So I remember thinking, like, man, what's this mean for our community? That was such a weird Laracon, Dallas. It was such a weird Laracon. It just felt very product vision, like, or just product minded. And then on top of that, they had dropped this announcement with the funding. We're like, oh man, where's this community going? Is it going to be a small community? And then coming into this year, I was kind of getting worried because I saw like there were sponsor meetups, like you had to be in a specific tier to do like partnerships and coffee to meet with the Laravel team and have discussions with them.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, man, back in the day, like in Chicago, back like 2018, you could just go up to Taylor, go up to Caleb or Caleb was working on Titan at the time, but you just go out to, people like that were known that were doing talks and just have conversations. But I was like, is this like everyone is in a different tier now where we have to be a sponsor? Right. Yeah. It felt, it didn't truly feel like, I was kind of wondering if this small community was going away. You could walk up to people like these people and have a real conversation. But the answer is no. It's still the same Laracon I remember from that I've grown to love. It was easy to find people. They had this big outdoor patio area. You could just go outside and mingle with people. And that's where I found Dino and Doug and all them. You could just walk outside and get some fresh air, talk to people. It was Denver, so weather was hot, but it was pleasant.
It wasn't Midwest hot. We got that wet heat.
Yeah.
Humid.
Yeah. So it was the Laracon I always remember. It still feels like the small community, even though they have 80 employees now. So it's I felt like I made a list of people I want to talk to because it's so easy to leave. Every year I go to Laracon. Ooh, I wish I would have talked to so and so. And so I just made a list on my phone and started checking who would make sure I at least had talk to them and whatnot. And by the end, it was I've talked to everyone. There was only just a few that didn't end up coming or that various reasons. But it was such a great conference. I felt like it was super easy to find people, have great conversation. And yeah, I'm excited about the one next year. You should go. I will personally. I know you don't like to fly, so I'm almost as long as it's not in California or something. I will personally me and you can drive a car. Boss Chris Morrell.
Chris.
Yeah, well, everyone online knows him as Boss Chris, but Chris Morrell thinks he wants it to be in Philly, so he kind of in his talk he threw in a little Philly thing. So
Philly
I could be down for Philly. I'll personally drive you to Philly if you want to go, because I know you don't like flying. So that way you can go as well, because I love for you to experience it again.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't mind flying. I just don't like flying alone. If I can
I'll make
fly
sure
with
we're
my
on the
wife,
same flight. Okay,
that's fine. But flying myself, no. That's
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
that's my number one fear. But yes, I want to go for sure. If it's somewhere close, on the Midwest, hell yeah, I'll drive 16 hours. I don't care.
When a quick aside on that, we are looking at doing a Midwest conference. It's very, very early. So the company I work for, Wilbur, Jake Bennett, is looking to do a Midwest conference in Normal, Illinois, so Bloomington, Illinois. And so
up north.
We're talking maybe in late January. So something to think about. Me and you could ride together and do some of that. Yeah, and so it's very early, so something to think about. If you're a listener in the Midwest, feel free to reach out if you'd be interested in something like this, because we're trying to figure out how many people are interested in joining. There's Jake mentioned, there's lots of people, Laravel people from the Midwest, and just having a little they always did the meetup for Laracon Online, and just having everyone kind of congregate to watch Laracon Online together. And now it's now that Laracon Online isn't as much of a thing anymore, maybe we can just meet in person and just do a little conference. There's one in New York going on right now too. It's PHP NYC. I think that Joe Tannenbaum runs.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
There's a bunch of little ones just popping up, and so would love just to be a part of that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm down for that. I want to go back to Laracon. It was fun when we went to Nashville. I remember when we got out of that second day in Nashville, we were I just want to go back to the hotel and just program for 16 hours straight. I was so pumped for it, so I definitely want to go again. I'm curious if you had that same feeling after this one. You said you went back to the hotel room and sat in silence. Were you you fired up? Is there an idea that got you fired up?
It feels like I'm just way more motivated, and I have a ton of energy now to do things. I feel like I don't know what it is, but there's just something about the high that you come off of Laracon that just fires you up at work, and then even in your personal life, just to just to be present with your kids, because you take the time away to go to Laracon, then you come back, So, but yeah, speaking of like talks and then what you were asking, I was asked by the vehicle team, so Margaret and Dan, to do a talk at Laravel Worldwide. So I'm very excited about that, but also extremely nervous. It'll be my first talk that's not introductory level. And so I'm pretty excited about it. So with the talk, how it went down is...
sparks were for you. I'm excited for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I was talking to Margaret and just asking her some opinions, like, hey, I've been thinking, I've had some ideas about doing a talk sometime. And she like lit up like, oh man, we would love to have more talks, especially, she said, I see you in the comments a lot. She would love to have me do a talk. And then I was talking to Dan about one of my ideas, and he gave some great feedback. And then I got a message from her later saying, hey, would you like to do a talk? So, and then also the big motivators of this, I got to give them full credit, is Jake Bennett, my wonderful boss.
Jake.
He always keeps pushing me, to like, hey, you should really do a talk. And I always say like, hey, one day, and so he just kind of gave me that extra nudge to finally want to do this. And then Aaron Francis, his first talk was of the conference was, you can just do things. That was just kind of motivated. I was like, and the other part of is this community has given me so much, and I'm just looking to give back in any way I can. So yeah, they asked me to do they're asking if I was interested in doing a talk, and I've been thinking that's something that would be me, and Dalton, you knowing me, might agree with this. And I'm borderline obsessive with like clean code of like just how it looks, how it's formatted, to even how comments are, I don't like comments, but how they're worded, to just conditionals and how they're handled, to just little things. I think it drives you crazy sometimes, like in code reviews here, because you just want to get something live. I'm like, we can improve this. So anyway, so with that, the talk is titled Keeping Laravel Elegant When Business Gets Messy.
Ooh,
so
spicy.
The core of it is like how to keep Laravel clean. It already is clean. That's the easy part. Laravel it's already created in a very clean, expressive, clean way. But then when you get into a business environment, high pressure, high stakes, where you're like 8 tickets deep and client wants it live yesterday, me and you have been there, we know, right? Mm-hmm. So these are things I've learned over the years from various folks that I apply daily. So it's tips on keeping them clean when deadlines are tight, requirements are changing. So I'm going to be refactoring some complex code, and sharing some maintainable stuff. Screenshots.
Okay. I was gonna say that's ambitious for a live demo. Oof.
We'll see how it goes. But right now, I got a lot of slides. I got 40 minutes to do it, so I got a lot of slides to cover.
Got decent time. Okay.
But I'm going to be covering some refactoring patterns, maintaining patterns, like don't write comments, like don't do to-dos, like that kind of stuff. Just structuring applications to like stay clean, and when things do get busy. What's your thoughts on like this talk? Do you feel like it would resonate with you? Because so far with when I share with people, they feel like they could resonate with a lot of people, and so with it's so easy to ship things fast, but then it can be messy, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great counterpoint to that. Just always be shipping, but you also have to worry about the maintainability. Like if I could just write any old thing, and it might work. I might write 3 or 4 tests, and it's great, and I'll ship it out, and then I'll take a vacation, and it's like, oh, hey Andy, by the way, we need this other this other feature for this thing that Dalton worked on. Can you do it? And you go in there, and you're like, what the hell were you doing? Like, I get that you only had a day to do this ticket, and there's comments everywhere explaining code, and you've got variables that are named just data, right? And you're like, what the hell is this? And it takes you just as long to think about what's going on as it would to just write it. And I actually think that's why we work so well together when we work together, is because I was like a utility developer. I would do just that, and then you would always come in behind me and make it look pretty and maintainable. So it is perfect. Yeah.
What I'd like to do is like show how it gets messy. And so my idea is showing a controller, just a simple controller, and then how a department can come in with request after request after request. And you can, while you're still believing in things like Cruddy by Design, which is a talk that Adam Wathan did. In your controllers, you only have index, show, update. You don't have like updates users or a method like that, you know. So just by keeping it clean, so you can still keep it like you can have everything under like a creation method, but then it just continues to drag and drag and drag into like, you know, you have a module in there that creates a record, but also needs to tie into a third party, but also needs to create a PDF, but also needs to notify over someone's email. It's just like, but it's all in your controller. And so, but it started as a simple request of like somebody called in and wants a invoicing, like an invoicing endpoint. And then it grows into something so massive, like request after request, and you want to move quickly. So it's like, oh, we already have this controller here. Let me just add to it.
Let me just add this in here, throw it in there.
Right. And it's just about questioning every part in the process. Like, should we move this somewhere? Should we clean it up at this point? And so, that's the point is like, it's okay to write messy code. Like you explained, it's like you know, when me and you pair together, it's okay to write messy code as long as it's cleaned up before it's shipped out the door, you know, because sometimes it takes just as long to clean it up, but we just need that time. And why it's so vital is my other point of like refactoring codes. A lot of developers get it wrong in the sense of like, they look at it as like, hey, we want to clean this up. It's the good thing to do. We're programmers. We want to use best practices. Maybe it might improve performance. But the leadership in business typically doesn't really care for that. They go on the side of like, oh, maybe not now. They don't see the ROI on that. Like, oh, just refactor the code, but it's not giving them anything. But if people are constantly tripping over the same code over and over again, it can come off the ROI side, like how you can present to your business. We want to refactor this. This will allow us to ship faster on this particular section of the code, on this particular module. This will allow us to ship faster, and that'll be the return on investment. Because if you're constantly pulling your hair out trying to work through something and it's taking weeks to deploy, there's this gap between like senior devs. They tend to like abstract too early, and then junior devs not really knowing what clean code is yet. So I'm hoping to kind of like merge right in the middle, kind of bring this boring middle ground. So, but it's expressive, readable, and native Laravel, and staying to Laravel. Don't go down like I don't want to get into patterns like DDD, like domain pattern or anything like that, or modular development. I'm not going to quite touch on that, but it's going to be just like kind of sticking to the Laravel way, using validation, form request policies, jobs, you know, stuff like that. So, yeah, right. Man. Yeah. So conventions matter, you know, there's always this thing. So I can keep going on because I'm just so passionate. But there's this thing of like, maybe next time.
That's when
they always say
when
this.
you know it's a good talk, man. Yeah, like right. When like you could already do the talk right now just to me for 40 minutes.
Oh, I'm just giving the talk right now. I'm exposing all. I'm showing, but mostly I'm just getting your opinion, right? But there's always been this thing of like, there's always next time. But it's never like, why now? Why just don't do it now and think yourself later?
Just do it from the beginning. Like, ironically, as you were telling me that, I opened the project that I've been working on just to see, and I think because of you, I don't write comments anymore. Like, if my code doesn't say what it's supposed to do, I just like, why do I have to write a comment that says, hey, this goes through here and filters out bad email addresses? Like if my function names are expressive enough, that should be it to anybody who comes in here and says, "Oh, this is what this does."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. That's something we actually do at our company at Wilbur. We don't even have doc blocks. We have type hints, but we rarely ever write comments ever. Like just on it must be something obscure, you know, something kind of It's we don't really write comments. Also. To-dos, not writing any to-dos in your application. So that's something that people still do this day. Just don't get it. They'll just write to-do and it never gets done. I can't remember a time I've ever completed a to-do. It's always a to-don't. So or don't do.
To do or to don't. If
to
that's
do,
not the title of this episode. No, that's funny because I think I've gone a full circle on that because I used to be a huge fan of doc blocks. I don't know if you remember that. I used to put doc blocks above everything. and I would just have PHP Storm, but back before the AI days, I would just have PHP Storm just auto-generate the doc blocks for me. I was like, these are probably important for anybody who wants to look at it. But I never looked at them because I wrote the code. I didn't know what it meant. But now I think the only doc blocks I have is from like that Laravel IDE helper package that puts that one big doc block above your models that will tell it like what properties and what functions are available, so your IDE doesn't scream at you for like some magic variable that's not actually there, but it is. I think that's the only doc blocks I have in my code base right now. I mean,
Yeah.
don't hold me to that, but it's much cleaner than what I used to do, which is doc block everything.
The only time I reach for doc blocks is, when maybe PHP Storm may not do this, but when you have off the helper off user, like off
Yes.
open, then user.
I use that all
It
the
always
time.
it always throws a red line under it, and so especially when you have magic methods on the user model, and so sometimes you have to explicitly define above it. You'll be like, you'll write a comment above it where it's like a doc block of, hey, this is the user model. Like,
var
don't write.
user.
It's like, we'll give you that weird, it'll underscore it, or it'll put that red underline on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm pretty excited about this. Just like, first talk, it's always just a little nervous, but I mean, it is online, so it's a bit, sometimes
Chill.
you kind of get a feel of the crowd of how they're enjoying it, if you're in person. So that's kind of the only downside of being online and just talking to a computer screen, just like I'm doing with you right now. So, but I'm trying to not talk too far on the senior side, and I'm not trying to talk too far on the junior side. So I'm kind of meet in the middle. Because there's, like I mentioned earlier, Adam Wathen has that great talk, Ready by Design, Laracon New York 1. And fantastic talk if you haven't heard that one before. But just like how you have those, like I mentioned, index, all those methods in your controller about refactoring patterns with that. But since then, that I can't remember. I mean, you'll see tips on Twitter like, hey, do this, do that. I just haven't seen just a clean code Laravel specific talk. And so I'm going to give some code samples of like things I've done to clean things up, like array to collections in certain places, using the tap method, which is very underrated in parts. I have like what I want to say. I just need to like stitch it together and figure out, okay, where I'm going to slide things in.
When can you say when this would be? Like if we're recording this,
That's a good point.
August.
I should probably tell people when this is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be on Tuesday, August 26th, and it's the Laravel Worldwide meetup. So you can go to meetup.laravel.com. It'll be on the official Laravel YouTube channel, so you can tune in there to watch the live stream. So I think it's at noon Eastern time, which will be 11 Central
Eastern.
for people in the Midwest. Well, I guess it kind of depends, right, where you're at in the Midwest, but
12 Eastern, August 26th, Tuesday.
yeah, you got it,
I'll
man.
Be there.
Awesome.
sure.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Cool.
Always.
Filament 4 came out. I'm switching up now. Done with me. Filament 4 came out.
Done with you. All right, Andy, shut up for the rest of the podcast. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that, dude. I am so excited for Filament 4. I don't think I can accurately describe it with my facial features. I'm not an actor, but I'm hyped for it. It looks really good. The people that I work with are also equally as excited for it. The problem is with Filament 4 is it's so good that they changed quite a few things, and like half of my app is broken just because I customized. Like Filament's so flexible, you can basically do anything. Like I even created my own custom filter layout instead of using the drop down or the modal or the above content. I did a sidebar filter. So I had to customize all of that. And so when Filament 4 came out and I ran their upgrade script, which shout out Rector, they had a Rector script which did quite a good job of upgrading my current app to Filament 4, like changing all the methods and variable names. But all the customizations I did they did not work. And of course none of that's documented because I was doing it in the beta. So I spent probably a couple days just trying to figure out how to get my old code to work with the new Filament release. And that's been, fun is a relative word when you're debugging problems of like layout shifts and junk like that. It's not fun, but like it looks good and it's satisfying when it gets done. And I haven't noticed a big speed improvement, but like some of the data tables that I have render like thousands of records, and I noticed that it is just a bit quicker to render things. Overall, I'm excited for it. Like it's stable now as of recording this. The I think it got released this week, like the stable release. I'm super hyped for it. It looks so good, and like I don't know how I ever lived without Filament.
Do you use it for an admin panel and front end, or just admin panel?
It's kind of tricky because the app itself is the Filament panel. Like people
we
log
got an
in
app like that too.
and
Yep.
they just use Filament.
Isn't that nice? Yeah.
It's so nice, dude. The thing, it took me like 5 months to build this thing or rebuild this thing. It was already an existing application written in Vue with a Laravel backend for an API, and then they wanted it to be redid in Filament. And I think it took me 5 months to do that. And if it wasn't in Filament, I would still be working on it, 9 months in. Like Filament's just so good. It's so easy to move things into and to just like have like complex layouts. Like I designed a whole layout like in a day, like a custom layout in a day, and it
Nice.
looks great.
Yeah.
And people are happy.
love
I
that.
assume people are happy about it. I don't. I don't actually know if they want it, but I'm super happy with Filament 4 so far. I haven't talked to any of my coworkers about it, but I know that one of them, ironically, his name is Andrew too. I seem to always work with Andrews.
Nice.
It's a
Andrews are
blessing and a
good
curse.
guys. Yeah.
But I know that he started upgrading his app to Filament 4. So I'm gonna have to ask him what his thoughts are on the upgrade process, because it's 50-50 for me so far. Like the Rector script that they had, flawless. It was great, and that was in the beta. That was like several weeks ago. But just some of like underlying customizable things have not been fun to mess with.
Have you used their new editor? It's called Rich Text.
So yes and no. The merge loop stuff that I have that works with Filament, I've been working on trying to get it upgraded to Filament 4, and I want to spin off and do a smaller package of what I already have specifically around that editor, because it's fire. The little things that I've used it for is awesome. Being able to insert variables, game changer. Like I want that to be its own little package.
That'll be really nice. That the agency we used to work at, we used to build repeatable blocks, and to have that variable inside there, that would be amazing to see that.
Primo.
Oh, yeah,
I wish I had
it'd be
that
really
for
good.
that. I haven't gotten around to it in a while, but I've been upgrading the merge loop stuff for that specific reason, because I saw that I was like, that's perfect for this thing that I built. Like I want to get that into this like now, because I would use that specifically
it's
for
really
blog posts and stuff.
Everyone's talking about Filament, like, and it's really neat. When version 4 came out, like Taylor retweeted it, so I'm like, oh, I wonder if the Laravel team's talking a lot about Filament as well. So, but it's really cool to see. Well, I mean, yeah, they have a lot of supporters over there. They have some big companies using Filament. I mean, we have an app that just uses like similar to you. It's using Filament on the front end and the administrative side. It's like there's no other custom UI. Like it's purely Filament. So we use it extensively. The thing that I was bumping into in version 3 is if you have options like in a select box or a radio, if it gives you the option to disable them reactively. So if you have like click a button and it like, for example, if you have country, you select country Canada or country United States, and then you have a second box of like state or province, and it switches the results accordingly. There's no way to actually hide the options. Like if you want to hide United States, like states options, you can disable them but not hide them. And so the hack right now to do, you have to build 2 inputs, one for Canada, one for United States, and just like show them accordingly. Then you have to like bring them together on the back end. So the PR I sent in on version 3 was an option to hide them. So on the disable option, there's on the select, you do like the select input, and this is disable option when, and it gives you a callback of the option of every specific option. So I did the same thing, but like hide option when was the method name. And but then Dan closed and said, "Hey, send us the version 4." And I was like, "Oh, well, shoot!" So I was like, "I guess they're getting real close on version 4." And then like 2 weeks later, yeah, they had dropped it here. So that's awesome. I'll have to send that in again, so that way we can have those options where you can actually filter the results instead of doing that little workaround of filtering the conditions there.
Yeah. Did you? I assume. Well, I not assume. I saw the picture of the Filament team at Laracon. Did you happen to bump into any of them?
Yeah.
Like Dan? Did
Yeah,
you meet
I got
Dan?
to talk to. Yeah, I got to talk to Dan. I
Nice.
always tell him each time I see him that he needs to submit a talk, and he tells me he does. He met several talks, but I know he's speaking at either Denmark or the UK one. He's doing a Filament talk there, so that'll be really good. But he's really young. He's 20 years old, I think. Yeah.
Dan,
So
you make me feel
he's doing
old,
some
guy.
He's doing
Oof.
some really great things over with Filament. He works for Canyon GBS, and they have a huge modular app. That app is really cool for code diving and just understanding like some really technical business logic in a modular environment. It's all public, right? But it's all like you could just go in. It's just a cool way of like reading some really clean code.
Yeah, ask if you see him or talk to him or whatever. Ask him if he's free for this January Midwestern conference thing.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. We have to fly him in. I think he's like a Europe guy. He's in Wales, in the UK.
Okay,
so,
never mind.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan. Too expensive. Shout out Dan, Filament 4, and the team. Not just Dan. Dan and the team. Filament 4 is awesome so far. I don't have any big gripes with it. Have you upgraded? Have you looked at upgrading to your stuff to Filament 4 yet?
We have it on our it hasn't been an official issue yet, but it's just been in mind in different places. Like we have certain apps going live, soon. We want to make sure that everything's up to date. So we should probably update to Filament 4. That's probably going to take a little bit of time. So not yet though. Mm-hmm. We're looking at doing some of those.
Yeah. Well, do set aside some time. Like I said, that Rector script is pretty good. It catches a lot of things, but not like if you customize anything, it doesn't really catch that.
Yeah.
The beta one that I used anyway. Yeah.
Laravel Boost, are you using that?
I am using that. I installed that the day it came out into PHP Storm, which
same here.
That's a whole nother topic with our IDE talks. Are you still on Cursor?
No.
You swap?
Okay. I'm in between editors right now. I would say I'm split between VS Code and NeoVim.
Andy, no.
I love NeoVim.
No.
You know what started? You know what got me on NeoVim? Alex 6.
Oh.
Yo.
Oh, his talk?
Yeah, Alex 6 did a talk on Tmux. Heard great things about Tmux, never used it. Jake's talked great things about Tmux. But I got on that train of just using Tmux. And do you use Tmux much at all?
No. No, I don't even really know what that is, other than that talk.
You should watch it. Yeah, go ahead. I would go ahead and watch this talk, and it's really good. Tmux is, you could just run, like one of our projects, I run Tmux, and I already have npm run dev running. I don't have to do anything with that. I already have a Claude window open when I want to use it. So it allows you to switch between tabs really quickly. So you can have multiple tabs open, but you can also have a tab open that's just a direct line that's SSH into your server, which can be scary at times, but sometimes really useful if you want to flip between your server and your code editor. And so it's really a great tool to use. But been using that. I've been between that and there's sometimes. So I will say, when I'm doing PR reviews, VS Code is really good. It's kind of hard to beat because you can see a diff between it. You can write.
I can beat it.
You can write comments in the editor.
Sorry.
You can. Can you do that in PHP Storm? Like on a PR, you can do hey Andy, fix this. Like in PHP Storm on a PR.
I don't check out.
Okay. See, here we go.
Storm.
Yeah, exactly.
So no,
that's the problem.
No, I can't.
No, yeah. But you can. It's really good at reviewing code. So, but anyway, I'm getting off tangent on code editor, so I apologize. But so you're still on PHP Storm, right?
I am on PHP Storm, but I do have Boost installed. I've installed it. I've got my what's it called, MCP stuff set up for that. One of my coworkers even mentioned what was it called? I think Josh mentioned Context. There's a website, Context something. Context 7, I think is what it's called. And they've got like things for like I've got a Filament one that he recommended. It was like a for your MCP. So
Hot
just
tip.
for Filament. So I've got Boost and then I've got that Filament one set up. And it's been pretty good so far. Like I've been using Junie a whole lot more. I've been trying to use Copilot to fix my stuff. Like instead of bashing my head against trying to figure out a bug for 10 minutes, if I don't figure it out the first time, then I'll just ask Copilot. If Copilot can't figure it out, I'll ask Junie. And it's been really great so far. So far.
Have you used Claude Code?
I have not, but I know that my coworkers and boss have been quite heavily looking at it.
You should
to be used.
You should poke your boss, get you a $20 subscription. Just give it a shot. It's so I had Cursor for a while, and then I switched to Claude Code, and that was a big change for me of like how I did my programming style of like either debugging something or walking through and planning something. It started back when it started just like copy paste into the web browser of like, here's my code. Like, what do you think of this? Then it shifted over to Cursor, take apart and have a chat with, back and forth of like how to proceed with your request or whatever. And then now with Claude Code, it's like, that's one thing like mentioning Tmux and NeoVim, it just goes hand in hand with that. And you could just open up a terminal, type in Claude, and then whatever directory you're in, it just rolls with whatever request you have if you get plenty of context. It does get expensive. So I hit the rate limit pretty often now. It's like you get like so many tokens for 5 hours. I'm only on the $20 plan, but I'm going to upgrade to the $100 plan here soon because our company Wilbur's is getting really invested into AI as well. So I think I'm going to bump up to that. Which that will do is that will give me access to the Opus model, I think it is. And so right now I'm just on a Sonnet model on Claude, which is pretty good. But the Opus model, when I'm looking into something and it's not quite right in the Sonnet model, I'll go to the web browser and then I could copy paste what they gave me in Claude Code. But I could go to the Claude web browser side, paste it in, switch the model to Opus because you can use it in the browser. You can't use it in Claude Code unless you have that $100 plan. And then it'll shoot me back maybe recommendations on how to improve something. So it's been really good at debugging things. Like that, the MCP stuff has been incredible. It's just like it finds things so quick. It uses the herd MCP combination of that and like reading your exceptions and either in your log or console errors in your browser. So you don't have to like no more copy paste and paste it in and tell it the MCP stuff. It's incredible. So that part of that is Boost. Part of that is Claude Code. So it really changed the way I code. It's like AI's taking our jobs, right? It's like it's such a weird way of thinking of like I've really in the past few weeks I've really changed my way of how I go into like a feature now. Like AI has a part of some point. Whether if that's writing this blade file, which I know exactly what I want, the intention of what I want to do. Why am I going to spend the time doing it when I can just put it in this prompt and then it can get like 85% there and I can just make small tweaks. It's very important to keep the human in the loop. That's the biggest thing of when I'm doing that. Like every point I'm always like aware of what's happening. Of like I'm not just like, hey, Claude Code, build me an app. It's like I'm very cautious about what I want it to do and what I don't want it to do. Because I'm very opinionated, just like talking earlier, I'm very opinionated, the way I like to write things and just making sure it's clean and expressive. And I feel like it has a long way to go for some of those things. But, I mean, it eliminates so much time just trying to work through something, trying to debug something. If I'm new to a code base, I'll copy an exception in, give it the context I have, maybe give it a database record that's throwing in the exception, and it does a really good job of like giving me potential areas where the exception could be, and it's been right. It's been right more than wrong most of the time. It's just so weird how I went from writing line by line, what's going to save me the most time, And also, is it going to look good? Is it going to be battle tested?
They took our jobs, but not if we take them first. If we take our own jobs first, they can't take it from us. No, there's quite a bigger push at the company that I work at to get into more, like to try to leverage AI more to just help us out. Like we're not on like strict timelines, and we don't have like, it's not an agency, so we're not like, we got to get this out the door now in a really short amount of time to save money, XYZ. Like if you can ask AI, Claude, or in my case, Junie, to help you just like stub out a feature first, and then take what the pieces of Junie did, and then just sort of massage them into whatever you need. Like that's encouraged to do, which is still hard for me to do. Admittedly, I don't know all of these AI models. I don't know the difference between Sonnet and whatever you said, Orpheus.
Yeah, Opus. It changes faster. It changes faster than JavaScript libraries releasing, right? Like I feel like every day there's a new model or a new product that is related to AI that we should consider in our development flow. It's like, man, it can be very overwhelming. A lot of developers are just sick of hearing AI. It's just because there's so much product around it and money involved with it. And it feels like just everything's trying to sell to us. And so I can see that side of it. But the other side, I can. There's a lot of good parts of it too.
It's weird. Yeah. It's just weird. It's so 180 degrees from what it was like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just like when Copilot came out, and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I could write a comment, and it would actually spit out, some sort of like collection Laravel thing with filters. I'm like, wow, this is the future, right? And nowadays, you could just do that. You don't even have to write the comment. Right? It'll just read the context of the file and go, oh, this is what you're trying to do? Got it.
It brought me to a great memory of the first time I used Copilot. It blew my mind of like, that was the first time.
You sent me screenshots and like, look what it did. I'm like, I want that.
It's like, it pretty much wrote all of our tests exactly. We were blown away. And now it's like, not even that long ago what that was. And now it's like, we're typing in full prompts of, hey, do this. You see people on Twitter creating full games or full applications.
Yeah.
So,
bro,
crazy. Crazy time we live in.
Please don't fire us over AI. That'll be my last comment on that.
I think in our lifetimes, jobs. I think I said this one show or another, but I feel like our jobs will change in our lifetime. But of like what we'll be in the loop, right? Of like with the code, but it'll be writing to computers and us making sure it's correct in some ways. But we've really got to know our craft of Laravel, and I think that'll be around, but it's just going to be a different way of doing programming's been changed so many times over the years. There's been so many threats, if you will, of like it going away, but it's just going to constantly be changing as it always is.
Yeah, I see the future of like senior developers in Laravel. Well, not just Laravel, just senior developers in general. They're not going to be a whole lot of junior developers. Sorry, I feel like senior developers are going to have a lot of agents, right? You're going to be a manager over like 5 agents, right? And this agent's, your testing agent. This is your front end agent. This is your back end agent, and you're going to be managing those agents as you as the collective department.
Right. A bunch of project managers. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't want to be a project manager. Hang on, wait. No.
What are you saying, Dalton?
No. I don't want to be a project manager. I just see something very similar to that. Like agents are going to be crazy. You can have agents fixing agents. It's going to be a wild time.
They start talking to each other. The agents are communicating with one another
we don't
about
really
what
need the project managers. They're going to be like us.
Spaces.
They're going to be hawking the manager, and we're going to be the managers, right? Oh no!
Have you seen Andy today? We haven't heard from him since this morning. Where is he? Like where?
Yeah, that loser only clocks in at 7 and clocks out at 5. Meanwhile, we're sitting here working 24 hours a day.
What's going on?
Making less than this guy.
Yeah.
Oh no!
All right, man. Would you like to close this out?
Yeah. Bye. I'm kidding.
See ya.
Yeah. Okay. Peace. No, thanks. If you're stuck around this long and listened to it, thank you. We appreciate you. You're like a special subset of people, and we appreciate your time. But until next time, we'll talk again in another month. All right. Peace.
All right. See you guys.